take off my sunglasses so I can see. Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? John and I just went to see King Kong Skull Island. And what'd you think, buddy?
Oh God, it was so boring. There was no action. You barely saw King Kong. Oh wait, no, it's a really good movie. Probably my second favorite of all the Kong movies. Now here's a story for you kids. I don't think I told Jason this one. Okay. My dad told me, if I can remember this correctly. Back when he was in high school, he used to play football. And a bunch of his buddies.
Okay.
Where should I start from?
Oh, yeah, what his buddies said we
all right, my
football.
Dad and his buddies, they went to see, it might have been like Mighty Joe Young or something at the Warner Theater back when that was a regular movie theater. And so him and his friends are walking in, and this guy comes up to him and says to my dad, hey, you want to make some quick money? Well, what they were supposed to have was this guy dressed up in an ape suit running around the stage, and the guy couldn't make it for whatever reason, got sick or something. So, yeah, they paid my dad to put on his Kong suit, and they let him out on the stage. And then he said he couldn't see very well through the eye hole, so he accidentally kicked stuff over. But he said it worked because the audience really got into it.
Oh, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, this new Kong Skull Island, it was pretty good. I'm looking forward to the next movie that they're going to do.
Yeah. The one thing is, well, what rating would you give it, buddy?
I'd probably give it about 9 out of 10. And Brie Larson, who's the female lead in it, I guess she's going to be the new Mrs. Marvel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going to be making a Mrs. Marvel or Ms. Marvel or whatever.
Oh, cool.
I don't know, so many Marvels. There's Captain Marvel, Captain Kangaroo, Captain Caveman.
Captain Caveman.
Yeah, she's going to be starring in that.
Oh, cool. You could be Captain Caveman. You got the beard and stuff like that.
Bunga, bunga. All right. See you, Legion.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it. I thought it was a really cool movie. I know a lot of people were... Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. A lot of people were on the fence about saying King Kong wasn't in it that much. But, I mean, it was about... Aside from that, it was like an action-adventure about these guys being on Kong Island, all the monsters they encountered, and all the experiences they encountered. And C. Thomas Riley was fantastic.
No. John C. Riley.
John C. Riley. Damn it, I did it again.
You're thinking of C. Thomas Howell.
Yeah.
Who was at the Erie Horror Fest before.
Yeah, I know. Cool. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. What part did I leave when I was talking about
John C. Riley.
John C. Riley. Damn it, I did it again. See, that's how my mind is and stuff. No, but every time King Kong was on screen, it was fantastic. He really took center stage, and it was really an awesome movie. I get a full on 10 out of 10. I'll probably be back on my webcam to talk about, maybe a little more about the movie, and also about my history of the personal history with the King Kong movies I grew up on the webcam and stuff.
Oh yeah, if you want me to talk about the first, I don't remember much, but I saw the original one. It was when we were kids. Our buddy Greg Rupp that runs the Erie Horror Fest, he showed it at the Edinburgh Library, and I remember it was good. And like I said, it's probably my second favorite. Of course, I only saw bits and pieces of the Jack Black one because I'm not really into Jack Black, but this one, it was just kick-ass all the way, I thought.
Oh, the original, yeah. The original was all and stuff like that too, believe it or not.
It doesn't surprise me none.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, and the one thing is, my friend John, part of the history, whenever we were growing up as kids, he was saying that they would show it at the Edinburgh Library. And I told my dad that they're showing King Kong at the Edinburgh Library. He's like, no, they're not. People don't show movies at the library. Who told you that? My friends. Well, they're obviously lying to you. And they did that like year after year. And every time I'd come to school and I said, did you see the movie? No, my dad didn't believe me. Just like whenever my John Walker was saying, like, if you have a good report card at McDonald's, they'll give you like a free hamburger or free fries. And the dad said, they don't do stuff like that. They lose too much money. And then I remember bringing it up with him again. And he says, I don't remember ever saying that. So it's crazy.
Oh yeah, well my brother has a really cool cup he got from McDonald's from the 80s with the Hulk Hogan, Andre Giant, Iron Sheik, and a bunch of other classic wrestlers.
Oh, awesome.
McDonald's has done a lot of cool things over the year with their toys, but that was probably a glass they couldn't sell nowadays because it probably had the lead-based paint.
Oh yeah, that's true too. And then they had a big thing with Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They got arrested with a car full of like pot or something like that.
Did you say that Hacksaw Ridge was his new movie?
Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge starred Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge was Hacksaw Jim Duggan's new movie. So
really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
did you take a hacksaw to people?
yeah, that would have been like Midnight Meat Hacksaw Ridge or something like that. All right, I'll see you guys at the webcam. So for me and John, all right, take care and take care of my Legion, and I'll see you at the webcam. And I treated for my buddy John because he's awesome. All right, see you at the webcam. Hey, my Legion, I'm back on the webcam. And before I get started, I want to talk more about King Kong Skull Island, or Kong Skull Island, and say at the end of the video, my friend John did a couple of like parody things. You know, there used to be a wrestler called King Kong Bundy, and he did like Jason Kong Bundy or King Jason Kong Bundy or something like that, Skull Island, 2 versions of that, and then he did, my friend Heather liked it so much yesterday, she asked if he could do like a Princess Heather Skull Island too, which I a photo for that, which is pretty cool. I want to thank my friend Tony Town for doing the thumbnail for this video. One thing about my friend John is I've known him since grade school, and growing up, I grew up in a house in Albion, further down, and I went to Northwestern for kindergarten and first grade, and then after first grade, we moved up, way up on East Crane Road to a bigger house, and then, you know, wherever, you know, like about half a mile down was where the school district line stopped for Northwestern. So whenever we went there, we went to General McLean, because I know my parents weren't too happy with Northwestern, at least at the time they weren't. And then I went to Northwestern, and then when I went on the school bus in elementary school for second grade, that's where I met my friend John Walkowitz and also Martin Henry. And we've been friends, John and I have been friends ever since. I haven't seen Martin Henry in a long time. I remember Martin Henry was in the Army the same time I was. John was in the Army. And so let's go back to the movie. One thing about the movie, stay till the end credits, because there's more to the movie than that. And then there was more, they were showing like a whole movie type thing during the ending credits, and all these kids got up and started running. There's still more of the movie. I mean, that's one thing. I always stay after the ending credits, because there's always, ever since seeing Strange Brew, when they said all these people left and there's still more of the movie, they had Bob and Doug McKenzie did a whole big skit. Ever since then, I've stayed to the end of the credits, whether it be a movie or not. No, well, you know. And I remember going to the Dollar Theater. My niece and nephew, they were saying, "Let's go, it's over. See if there's any more movie out there." And then I remember buying. We saw it. Fantastic Four Turn to Silver Surfer, and as soon as the credits, let's go. And there's a whole big thing showing Galactus, and then my nephew said, "Well, we didn't see it before." "Yeah, because you wanted to leave during the credits. I told you to stay because there's more movie. I mean, what's the hurry? You're in an air-conditioned room in the middle of summer." But I mean, the dollar store unfortunately closed down. This is when they're little. But I always stay to the ending credits. And there was some more good stuff in this. I really liked the movie. I know a lot of people are, like I said, on the fence that King Kong wasn't in that much, but the way it played out, I mean, they had a bunch of cool stuff at the beginning with Kong, and then they had cool intro, and then they talked about getting this expedition to go to Skull Island, and it was really good. And then, I mean, it's set in 1973, and then it started, interest started to wane a little bit, and then as soon as they got in the helicopters, and they had a military escort to take them down there, and they started going to Skull Island through the storm and stuff. It got really awesome after that. And they played Black Sabbath Paranoid when they went to Skull Island. It was really cool after that. And like I said, along with Kong, it was like their adventure on Skull Island with all the monsters and stuff. I really loved it. 10 out of 10, like I said. And it was somewhat reminiscent of a movie a lot of people hated. I always got a lot of flack. The sequel to Anaconda. It was Anaconda's Search for the Blood Orchid. And it was mostly for the Hunt for the Blood, or it was Search for the Blood or Hunt for the, it's probably Hunt for the Blood Orchid. And most of it was the Hunt for the Blood, and they had the snakes for like the last 20 minutes. But I thought the action adventure story those guys was really good. And that was meant to be released on video, and they ended up showing it on the big screen. I know I didn't see it then, but I didn't see it till much later. I think I saw it on FearNet or something, and I watched it with my dad. My dad actually liked it, because he hated the first one. Well, anyways, 10 out of 10 for King Kong Skull Island. I loved it. I know I talked to my friend Ian Kay, who's a great guy. I dedicate this video to him. And he was saying that he only thought it was okay because he felt like it was more about the people and Kong only played a supporting character. But then I remember my friend John was saying, that Greg Rupp was saying, like, people complain about that. And he said, well, remember the original Godzilla from 1950s, he was barely in the movie. It was mostly the people, Raymond Burr and the military, trying to find out secrets about. But I like this King Kong better than I like the 2014 Godzilla movie. I love Shin Godzilla, even though Shin Godzilla looked goofy in a lot of shots until he became Godzilla, you know. But I like Shin Godzilla actually better than 2014 Godzilla. So let's go ahead and go fast forward. Like I said, John Walker and Martin Henry was saying that they were showing King Kong at the library a few times. And like I said, I did a whole thing about my dad saying that, and he didn't believe me. So the very first King Kong, like some of this is out of order, but I mean you can actually see the movie's out of order because there's really no like sequel or nothing like that. You can see every movie like fresh. You don't have to see the other ones, you know. And I'm gonna be talking about King Kong and all the like the knockoffs and stuff like that. And the very first movie I saw, I know that in '76, Dino De Laurentiis did a big budget. Super big budget King Kong movie with Jessica Lange in her first starring role. She played the Fay Wray character. And I didn't see it at the theater. I didn't see it till it broadcast on NBC in either, when I was in 5th grade. That was either, I can't remember, it was either 79 or 80. And it was a long movie, like 2 hours and 15 minutes, so they showed it over 2 nights, from 9 to 11. And I loved it. It was a great movie, and I really was a big fan of that movie. I give that was a full-on 10 out of 10. Jessica Lange did a great job. And like I said, I did a thing of anecdote about the movie when I saw on CiscoandEbert.org, they showed like Coming Soon, and they showed that before sneak previews started, they had another show, and they said Dino De Laurentiis, the story behind it. Apparently, Barbara Streisand wanted to play the Jessica Lange character, believe it or not. And then Dino De Laurentiis said, well, started to almost choke laugh. He said, no, there's one monster on set's enough, meaning King Kong. So that was pretty funny. But that's a full-on 10 out of 10. I really liked it. I mean, he fought a monster on there. And then I remember a little later, in summer of, before going to 3rd grade, they used to have like a late-night Saturday movie. And it used to be like Saturday Night Live, and then you'd have like one movie, and then this is back when TV stations showed late-night movies. It was just, they showed one movie, and then they ended up showing like all-night movies on NBC, but it was a while later. And I remember seeing commercials for King Kong Escape. It was in summer vacation. And I asked my mom, and he said, Mom, if I'm really good, can I stay up and watch King Kong Escape? And she's like, no, you can't watch it, and I'll tell your father not to let you watch it too. Well, I mean for no reason. You know, it's pretty horrid. And needless to say, I ended up staying up and watching it, though, which was really cool. I love that. I ended up seeing it. I was a big fan of that. And as kids, you think that they had like a bionic King Kong too, but as kids, you think they spent millions and millions of dollars. And then I saw it on I got home. I think I was home from Fort Detrick, Maryland. I saw it on the Family Channel, I think. And it looked so silly. It was a Japanese movie. And like the doctor was called Doctor Who. And it looked so silly and so cheesy, but it's like a giant... And then the Japanese really never did the King Kong right, the way that his makeup looked. It always looked kind of terrible. But I love that movie. It's a great movie. Full on 10 out of 10. I loved how cheesy it was. And then, like, after I saw that in 3rd grade, I didn't really see anything else. I saw on, they used to show, like I said, the movies on it. They showed Mighty Joe Young. And that's the movie my dad liked. That's kind of like a knockoff of King Kong, where they had, like, this ape that ends up getting, like, captured and bullied and stuff like that. And he ends up being vilified, and then he ends up saving the day or something like that. It's a really good, the old 50s one, or from 49, and my dad was a big fan of that, and I loved it too. I haven't seen it in a long time. I get a full on 10 out of 10. I saw the remake they did, but that's later on in the story. And then I'm trying to think what happened. We ended up getting a VCR, and either we saw the original King Kong. I think we rented it from a library. I wanted to see that for the longest time, and that's really fantastic. That's a classic creature feature, a classic movie, and that's the one that really made Fay Wray famous. You know, she was in some other movies, and they even did some songs like Typo Negative did. Fay Wray came out and played, and that was a great movie. I love that film. That was a full-on 10 out of 10. Even, for classicness, it was really good. And, they had some great effects. The effects for, I don't know who did the effects in the original King Kong. The effects in, what the hell was it? Mighty Joe Young was done with Ray Harryhausen. He did a great job. Now, a little bit later came King Kong Lives, which is a very, 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 very cheesy, low-budget movie that Dino De Laurentiis brought out that was really a shameful thing for the King Kong series, but it's very funny if you watch it in a cheesy manner, or if you don't take it too seriously, because I remember seeing it. I liked it, but it was so silly. And he finds a female ape. And at the beginning, they find his giant heart, Linda Hamilton. And I remember renting it again in Fort Detrick, Maryland. Thing how silly it was. I love the part with the two hunters and King Kong eats them, and then he goes like they picks his teeth. He finds a little hat in his finger. And he sets it down. I'd probably give that a 7 out of 10. It's a very cheesy movie, but it's not very good, but it's very entertaining. I've seen some really lousy King Kong ripoffs, so that looks like Citizen Kane compared to some of these other ones like King of Kong Island, which was horribly boring. It makes Kong Live looks like Citizen Kane, like I said. What I see now, let me think where I'm at now. Okay, Fort Bragg. I got out. Fort Detrick, Maryland. I got out of the Army. And that was kind of it for King Kong for a while. Oh, and then on AMC, the Mary Movie Channel, I saw the one I've been wanting to see that's been eluding me, Son of Kong. Because of the success of King Kong, they did like a movie like about a year later called Son of Kong, where they reused some of the sets. And some of the sets in King Kong were also used in a movie called Most Dangerous Game, which is where they hunt humans for sport, and that's been done over and over again. And that's a classic film, too. Son of Kong is somewhat like King Kong Skull Island. You don't see Son of Kong that much until the end. It's mostly about the guy's adventure to get there. Whereas in Kong Skull Island, you see Kong from, like, the beginning and in the middle and the end, you know. But in this one, you basically see him at the end, and he's like a little, almost human-sized, like a white gorilla. Like white, not like White Pongo, but he's probably maybe 12 or 13 feet tall or something like that. And it's more like, it's more for kids, like where the original King Kong was very serious. This one's more, whimsical, more lighthearted. And I like that one real well. It's not, I saw it again, it's still very entertaining, but nothing like the original classic. But it's still a mild 10 out of 10 for that one. It's still very entertaining. And then, from there, let me think. From there, I saw it was in early 2000 or something like that. They had Disney was going to be doing a remake of Mighty Joe Young. And it was at Tinseltown. They had like a special sneak preview on a Saturday night. And I said, Dad, let's go down and see it. I want to take my dad. My dad wanted to see it because he loved Mighty Joe Young. And I think the first movie, they showed Mighty Joe Young first. It was at 6 o'clock. And we went to see it. We paid like $7 or $8, and we saw it and we really liked it. It was a very different film. Rick Baker once again did a great job making it look very realistic, the monster. And I thought it was really good. I really liked it. I barely remember. I only seen it the one time, but it was full on. It was like a 9 out of 10. It was still pretty good. And then after that, we saw Bug's Life, the Pixar movie. And that's the one, if you stay tuned, they'd have the Pixar movie after it. And Bug's Life was like had nothing to do with King Kong, but it was like another retelling of Magnificent Seven, but with bugs and like a Pixar format, and that was a full on 10 out of 10. That's a great movie. After that, we've seen some knockoffs like King Kong Fu. That was like G-rated. That was a really crazy movie. Super silly, super cheesy. That's like a 7 out of 10. For $1, I remember getting King of Kong Island, which was an Italian film, which is absolutely fantastically boring. That's like a 1 out of 10. That movie sucks. I remember seeing, and then they had Peter Jackson after the success of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was on a task of doing the remake of King Kong. And that's a fantastic film. Even though some people didn't take Jack Black seriously in it, I thought it was a great movie. That was a full-on 10 out of 10 for that one. Great movie. I know John said he saw it off and on. He wasn't a fan. But actually, that got some real high praise, whereas the original King Kong got 4 stars in that Video Hound Movie Retriever. The remake got 3.5, so it's close enough, I guess. And then after that, I saw Queen Kong, which is a very... which is, I guess, is a rarely seen film. I saw it on Tubi TV. I did a review of it. It's all right for what it is. It's like a weird musical type thing. I know that I think it got sued for copying King Kong too much or something like that. I think it was British made. It's all right. Maybe 7 out of 10. I can't remember why I gave it originally 7 out of 10. And then it goes back up to Kong of Skull Island, which I really liked. And like I said, stay tuned till the ending credits. And now I hope you like this thing of my telling of the King Kong franchise. I think I covered everything. Yeah, and they did like a whole bunch of old gorilla movies like White Pongo, and they did a 3D Gorilla at Large. But those are like not really King Kong. I'm sure I'm King Kong. But I really like. Oh, and I also saw. I forgot. When I was in the Army in Fort Detrick, Maryland, I remember I bought from Good Times Home Video the movie King Kong vs. Godzilla. That was a lot of fun. Even though, like I said, the Japanese don't do a very good looking King Kong. My dad said the King Kong looked awful. That was a lot of fun. That was a full on 10 out of 10. And the legend behind that is that Americans did the ending with King Kong winning, and then the Japanese did an ending with Godzilla winning. On that one, that's the classic history. I remember reading about the way about years before I saw King Kong vs. Godzilla. I hope they remake that movie. That would be awesome. I would love to see them remake King Kong vs. Godzilla. That would be really fantastic. So I hope you like this video. Please stay tuned for a little slideshow of what my friend John Walkwitz did, the parody King Kong things. I hope you like this. And as always, my friends and my good friends in Legion. Take care, everybody. Take care, my Legion. Yeah, now coming up is the slideshow. He did this King Kong Skull Island preview where he did King Kong Bunny, my face over it. I showed Heather when she called me up Friday night, and she laughed her ass off. She thought it was the most funniest thing. And then John did another one explaining it better in case some of the younger people didn't know who King Kong Bundy was and said King Jason Bundy Skull Island. And Heather wanted to do one with her photo called Princess Heather Skull Island. This one's coming up, her photo on Facebook. Check this out, it's pretty funny. And that's for Heather Masson. I think that's really funny, and she thought that was funny too. But she asked me if I could ask John, and she friended John on Facebook. So I hope you like this review of the Kong Skull Island and the franchise video. I had a lot of fun doing it.